The name of Allah. Hamza's breath came in short gasps as the glowing amber eyes locked onto him. The air in the mosque thickened, pressing against his chest like an invisible weight. Every instinct screamed for him to run, but his feet felt as though they were buried in stone. The laughter had stopped, replaced by an eerie silence. Then, from the mihrab, the voice whispered again, closer, almost at his ear. You should not have come. A sudden gust of icy wind swept through the mosque, carrying the scent of damp earth and something far older. The lanterns swayed on their rusted chains, creaking as if unseen hands had touched them. Hamza squeezed his eyes shut, his mother's words echoing in his mind. When you are afraid, recite Ayat-ul-Kursi. No harm shall touch you. With all the strength he could muster, he forced his lips to move. Allahu la ilaha illa huwa, al-hayyul qayyum. The moment the words left his tongue, the pressure in the air shifted. The amber eyes blinked. The darkness trembled. And then, with an ear-piercing shriek, the shadow lunged at him. The Jinn's curse. Hamza fell to his knees, covering his ears as the high-pitched scream filled the mosque. The air around him swirled violently, dust rising from the floor as if caught in a storm. The shadows in the mihrab pulsed and twisted, forming something almost human. A tall, thin figure began to emerge, its body flickering like a dying flame. You cannot drive me away, child, the voice growled, now filled with anger. This place belongs to me. Hamza's heart pounded. He had no doubt now this was a Jinn. It stepped forward, its form shifting and breaking apart, as though it was struggling to hold its shape. Its face was hidden beneath a dark hood, but the amber eyes burned like fire. Hamza forced himself to his feet, gripping the old Quran stand beside him. His voice trembled, but he spoke with certainty. This is a house of Allah. It belongs to no one but him. The Jinn stopped. For the first time it hesitated. The wind that had been howling inside the mosque slowed to a whisper. The darkness retreated just a little. But then, the Jinn let out a low chuckle. You are brave for a child. But you do not understand, do you? Hamza swallowed hard. Understand what? The Jinn raised a long, clawed hand and pointed toward the mihrab. I was once like you. A worshipper turned lost. A strange silence fell between them. Hamza looked at the dark figure before him, confusion battling with his fear. You were like me, he repeated. The Jinn let out a breath, an eerie, hollow sound, like wind rushing through an empty cave. Long ago I prayed here. I worshipped beside men. But arrogance took root in my heart. I believed myself better than those made of clay. So, I left the way of Allah, and in doing so, I was left behind. Hamza stared, struggling to understand. He had always been taught that Jinn, like humans, had choices. Some followed Allah, while others turned away. You abandoned faith? He asked cautiously. The Jinn's fiery eyes dimmed slightly. I thought myself greater. When I realized my mistake, it was too late. Hamza's mind raced. Could a Jinn be cursed to remain in one place? Was it bound to the mosque because of its defiance? The air inside the mosque felt different now, less hostile, but heavy with sorrow. But Allah is the most merciful, Hamza said after a moment. If you repent, He will forgive you. The Jinn let out a sound between a laugh and a sigh. Would it be that simple? Hamza took a step forward. Yes. For the first time, the Jinn did not retreat into the shadows. But before Hamza could speak again, a distant sound echoed outside the mosque, a scream. His blood ran cold. Something was very wrong. To be continued in Part 3.